Hello, writers. So we are in the midst of our fiction unit. We are making sure that our fiction stories, as we're planning, have all of the elements of a fiction text. So we started by planning our characters, and I created the characters of Henry, my main character, and Leopold, another important character in my story, along with Henry's friends. Then we created a problem and a solution for our story. So I talked about how Henry wants to make friends, but is always too afraid to make them. People are trying to talk to him, Henry, Henry, but he's thinking, I gotta get out of here. And as a result, he feels lonely and thinks to himself, I have no friends. So that's Henry's problem. He's kind of his own problem, huh? And then the solution is when Leopold comes. Henry meets Leopold, who seems scary at first, but Leopold makes his way into Henry's life, and Henry learns that even though Leopold seems scary at the beginning, he's actually a very kind person. And that led him to believe, well, maybe the kids at school aren't so scary either. Maybe they just seem scary. But if I got to know them, if I was brave, then they would be nice, like Leopold is nice, and that's how the problem is solved in my story. So now that we have developed our characters and we've come up with our problem and solution, we're ready to write out our plot. What happens in the beginning, what happens in the middle, and what happens at the end. Let me show you the planning sheet we're going to use to do that today, writers. This is the planning sheet that we'll use to think about what happens in the beginning of our story, the middle of our story, and the end. This is kind of like our planning sheet when we were working on small moment stories, when we had first, next, then, and last. So we talk about the beginning, we talk about the middle, and we talk about the end. So I'm going to get started by writing my name because I am the author. All right, I have my name. It's time to start thinking about what happens in the beginning of the story. Okay, well, I know in the beginning I'm going to have to show Henry's problem right away, that he's scared. How can I do that? I have an idea I can try. Okay, so here's my idea. I have Henry on the playground. I was thinking, that would be a good place to show that he's kind of scared of the other kids at school. So I wrote a little bit out to help me think about it. All the kids were playing with their friends at recess as usual, except for Henry, who was all alone. And then I show Henry is all alone. He's thinking, I wish I had friends, and you can see people on the playground swinging. Now, when I'm actually drafting, I'm going to add more words, I'm going to add more pictures, right, and more labels. But this is just my plan. It's just a quick sketch. So this is what happens in the beginning. Henry's on the playground. He's thinking. He wishes he had friends. That'll show my readers what the problem is right away. All right, I'm ready to think about the middle. Okay, so I had the beginning of my story. In the middle, I have to start to solve the problem. So I'll tell a little bit more, and Leopold will come, and he'll solve the problem. Let me think about how I can write that. Notice that I think before I write. Even though I can change it if I don't like it, I think, and then I'm going to write a little bit. Let me see. Okay, here's what I came up with. It kind of got messy. I kind of went into the end box. So in the middle, I have the kids tried to invite Henry to play, but even though he wanted friends, he was too afraid. His fear held him back. So they're saying, hey, Henry, come play soccer with us. And Henry is running away thinking, too scary, too scary. So then Henry was sad. And this is still the middle, so I'm going to draw an arrow to show this is still the middle. I just ran out of space. One day, Henry found a baby dragon in his trash can, and I was thinking, where could he find him? I might change that later, but right now he's going to find him in the trash can. And I was thinking, he was so scared of the baby dragon, but the baby dragon, who called himself Leopold, wouldn't leave Henry alone. And soon they became friends, and so that's what happens in the middle, is his friends invite him to play. Henry's friends invite him to play. He's scared. Then he meets Leopold in the trash can. Leopold won't leave him alone. They become friends. This is the longest part of my story, right? The beginning's short, the middle's really long, and then the ending's short again. So that's my middle for now. Let me write my end. Okay, so we had a problem in the beginning. We solved it in the middle. Henry met Leopold. Now we want to show what happens in the end. We want our end to make the reader feel good or to take something important away in their brain. So let me think about what I can say. Okay, so I have after they become friends, in the end, Henry realized that he could make friends with the kids at school too, because if he was able to make friends with a scary dragon, who ended up being really nice, he could make friends with the kids at his school who seemed scary but were probably also nice. And I drew some pictures. I'm Leopold, that was for the middle. And then here at the very end, it shows, come play with us, Leopold. Henry's inviting Leopold to come play with all of the rest of his friends. So that's what's going to happen at the end. All right. So writers, I have now drafted my characters. I've developed my characters, especially Henry and Leopold. I have my problem, Henry's fear, and the solution. Leopold comes, helps Henry see that if he can make friends with a scary dragon who ends up being nice, he can certainly make friends with his schoolmates, who are probably also very nice. And I have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And I'm going to use all of these sheets, but especially my beginning, middle, and end to help me draft. Today, you will be working on filling out your beginning, middle, end. Take the time, just like I did, to think about what would make sense. Remember, after you think and you write it down, you can always erase, right? That's what great thinkers do in every subject. But take the time to think and then write and then think, okay, does that make sense? Can I make this a better plan? And you're not going to write and draw everything on your plan, because when you draft, you're going to add a lot more. You're just writing and drawing the important things on your plan. Are you ready to plan, writers? Get to it.